Let's begin with a Straits Times exclusive. For the last 15 years, an alleged Malay-Muslim religious sect has existed in the vicinity of Arab Street.
Senior correspondent Zaihan Muhammad Yusof spent the last 2 months investigating the group's leader and his female followers who are regarded as his spiritual wives. Now here's more on Zaihan's exclusive story.
The leader of the religious sect, known as Ali, is a former massage therapist in his mid-50s. He has 5 spiritual wives at present who help him run a small restaurant and an events business. Each night, religious classes begin when the restaurant closes at 8 p.m. and can last till 2 a.m. During the classes, Ali would be possessed by a spirit who talks to the group.
But he told us he can actually call our last prophet to be with him, as in to be, you know,
present in him.
Yeah,
spirit.
In spirit. So he did call our last prophet, and then in a very weird accent, and then he revealed himself as the last prophet.
His teachings include using proceeds from gambling to help needy Muslims. Gambling goes against Islamic teachings. Some of his spiritual wives were married before, but left their husbands to be with Ali. These women include a former CEO of a local Malay-Muslim organization, as well as a junior college lecturer. One of the ex-husbands, Mr. Muhammad, discovered meeting minutes and handwritten notes that his wife had taken during religious classes.
When I saw the notes, physically my hands are trembled. My heart is as I'm talking right now, is pulsating. The notes say that she wants to leave me to join him as one of his wife.
ST also acquired handwritten notes and emails dating back to 2009, as well as the group's 90-page religious manual. Among its teachings, Ali claims to be the Prophet Muhammad, who is allowed to have 13 wives. When ST approached Ali, he denied any involvement with the group and refuted claims that he has spiritual wives. Checks with religious authorities here show his name is not listed on the Asatiza Recognition Scheme, a database of certified religious teachers. Mr. Muhammad believes that exposing the group will serve as a warning to the Malay Muslim community.
Now, the story goes much deeper than that, and who better to share more about it than Zaihan Muhammad Yusof, the Straits Times senior correspondent, who did all the legwork for this. Hi, Zaihan. Zaihan, this man is known to the authorities here. He was the subject of a police investigation back in 2015. Now, what made you choose to further pursue this man and his story, and what were you hoping to achieve through this story?
Well, Yan, in the beginning, when I was told about this rumor sometime in middle of March, I thought it was nonsense. It couldn't be true, especially not in this day and age. But as I got closer and deeper into the story, I realized that there might be some truth in it. And I got worried after I met 4 of the men, basically 3 of the men, one of them has since passed on, whose wives left them to be with this spiritual leader. Now, can you imagine the families that have broken up, shattered lives, and so on? So I thought there was a point where we needed to tell this story, no matter how bitter, how unpleasant, how uncomfortable. We need to warn others about this man and his group and their activities.
In piecing together this story, could you talk us through the investigative work that you had to put into it?
Yeah. Actually, when I started, I heard the rumor in mid-March. The problem was, it was about the same time as COVID. So I couldn't do anything until about maybe after the elections. That's when I went full on. The problem was, I had to convince the husbands to speak to me. They were reluctant. I mean, maybe for obvious reasons, because it's embarrassing. They don't want to relive again what they went through, the divorce. There were 4 divorces here. And so I had to piece together who were the players, and it helped me a lot when I received documents, about maybe 200 to 300 pages of meeting notes, meeting minutes, class notes, religious class notes, WhatsApp exchanges and emails from group members to people that they were trying to convince to stay with the group. So it was a long time, and fortunately, the husbands agreed to share with me their story. You know, some of them had been followers of the group. Others, they were just shocked when they found out that what the wives were up to. So with that settled, around September to October, I watched this group for about a month every night, and just to see whether there's a pattern and where they went to. They usually went out together, you know, like all six, you know, and that man will always go back with a different woman. He's driven to his home, sent back home, and all I can tell is that this is a tight group. It makes you wonder, what is this man's lure? What is this attraction, you know?
There is a picture of you and this man, you know, facing each other, and I assume you guys exchanged a few words. So could you get a sense of, you know, like you said, this man's allure, and also the personalities of, you know, the 5 spiritual wives?
Okay, even you know, I've spoken to some of the wives, and I've spoken to his enemies, those who despise him. They all agree this guy is a very gentle person. You know, there's a Malay saying, "Pijak semut tak mati." He's like a person who steps on an ant and then the ant will not die. He's so gentle. That's what they claim. Now, when I confronted him on October 25th, he was surprised that, I mean, he wasn't expecting me, of course. Well, I asked him whether he was A, a spiritual leader of this group, B, whether he has many spiritual wives, and C, whether he is the prophet. He denied everything. But the manner in which he told me, the manner in which he denied those allegations, it was just too cool. But I could see, you know, he had his mask on. I could see from his eyes that showed a bit of defiance because, you know, he was cool, but he was upset that maybe perhaps someone had found out about his little secret.
Right. Zai, so what now? You know, you told us that you've been getting a lot of responses ever since your story came out this morning on Straits Times.
This is very interesting because I have friends who help monitor the chatter on Facebook, WhatsApp groups, and so on. And there are certain new things that we're learning about this group. In terms of investment, they seek out certain people that will fit the profile and to join the group. It is not open to anyone. They will select, and there will be a process whether you fit the profile. And I think they need to look for more members, because you must remember this man in his teachings, he's looking for 13 wives. Yeah, and if any one of the wives are financially independent, that's good, you know. So right now at this stage, it's too late for the husbands. They are divorced and so on, right? The families, they are separated. There's nothing much you can do. But I know this for sure, that MUIS had actually counseled, the Fatwa committee had counseled the man. This probably was like maybe a year or two ago. But it doesn't seem, and from what I've heard from people on the ground, that this man is, you know, going to change, because he's still doing the same things. He still conducts his late night classes that ends about maybe between midnight and 2 a.m. You know, it's very suspicious when the restaurant that they run closes at 8 p.m. at night. And from then onwards, it's like his religious teachings, it continues till very late. So it's very unusual.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on the show to share more, Zaihan. We've been speaking senior correspondent Zaihan Muhammad Yusuf. Now, he has a fascinating exclusive. We've just heard all about it. And you can, of course, read more over at straitstimes.com or in today's paper.